So in your business, as it grows, this is a great test to apply and look at, what is the 20% of my efforts that are generating 80% of the income? Go beyond that now. What is the 20% of my efforts that's generating the 80% of my joy?
I'm Amy Jo Martin. Welcome to the Why Not Now show. You know that thing you've been thinking about doing? Yeah, that one. Why not now? Have you ever actually taken the time to ask yourself, what's stopping me? Let's talk it through. This is your chance to give that idea the attention it deserves and take action. Each episode, I have a chat with a fascinating person, from entrepreneurs to athletes, celebrities, my parents, rocket scientists, and all walks of life. We talk through a critical time when they've asked themselves, why not now? We dissect that day or even that moment, step by step.
Just let go.
Allie Brown is on the show today. Over the past 15 years, she's advised and helped nurture the businesses of many 7- and 8-figure online thought leaders, the ones you see thriving today. But of course, it didn't start there for Allie. We talk through how she got her start, and in some cases, maybe even a false start, and what she's done to navigate the various changes in her career. Allie talks through how sometimes she believes you kind of have to blow your situation up a bit in order to make that hard right turn and really end up on the path that you are supposed to be on. Allie has been featured in major media, including the ABC hit primetime show Secret Millionaire. She's been named Forbes Women to Watch, and her accolades just go on and on. Allie's Why Not Now story is one that just fascinates me because similar situations keep surfacing where I hear these in different respects. Allie was on top, doing her thing, really just thriving, and she realized she actually wanted to change. She wanted to do something different. So she talks through what that process looked like, what the process of what it might have looked like from the outside and what was being perceived, and also what was happening on the inside and how she was really feeling, and how you do go about making that shift, kind of turning that ship. So if you find yourself in a situation where you know you want something to change big in your career, in your life, this is a perfect episode for you to listen to. Get your pen and paper out, or your Evernote, or however you like to take notes, because you will want them handy. I know I took plenty of notes. Here's Allie. Are you ready for change? Or maybe you're already in a season of expansion. As we embrace this new decade, are you ready to take action on your own Why Not Now idea? Maybe that means starting the company, launching the podcast, writing the book, or doing more public speaking, injecting your why into what you are doing. At the end of the day, that is exactly what creates connection. And connections convert. My life work is to help guide women through this very stage in their life. I do this through the Renegade Brand Bootcamp. It truly is the career love of my life. The reason I love this program so much is because I'm able to create a mosaic, a collection of like-minded, like-hearted, driven women who come together to level up. They learn the renegade mentality directly from me, and I share everything I've learned over the past 20 years in business. It's equal parts education, collaboration, accountability, and community. We are accepting applications for our 2020 program. And you are welcome to go check everything out about the program at renegadebrandbootcamp.com. And as a very first step, just sign up for my 5-day email series. I uncover all of the questions about the bootcamp and help you understand if it's right for you. We've had some incredible women come through the program, and you will hear from them as well. You can check out the curriculum, the structure, the vibe, and everything in between. Many years ago, I went to Mark Cuban and asked him for investment advice. I thought I was going to get some real estate or stock market type of advice. Instead, he said, invest in yourself. Invest in your own growth. Invest in yourself. Bet on yourself. This is the best ROI you will ever find. If you are at that point where you are ready to take action, head to renegadebrandbootcamp.com. We tackle the most taboo topics on the Why Not Now show. Oftentimes, you're hearing guests share things they've never shared before. In the spirit of things we don't typically talk about, you should know that the Why Not Now show is supported by Poopery, the original before you go toilet spray. It's magic. My friends at Poopery have literally taken the smell out of you-know-what. This pure blend of essential oils stops bathroom odor before it begins. Visit poopery.com, and Why Not Now listeners get 20% off with code WHYNOTNOW. That's all one word. And you can hear the story about Poopery in our interview with founder Susie Batiste. That's Why Not Now episode 28. Poopery is also available at Target. Allie, welcome to the show. I can't wait to get started and dive in the spirit of Why Not Now. Can you tell me about a time when you had a big decision to make and you asked yourself, why not now?
It kind of happens every day.
Yes. It's in your DNA, I imagine, right?
Yeah. There's, the moment that I'm sharing the most right now, because I think a lot of women especially need to hear it, especially as we are getting into our mid-careers. I refuse to say late career because I really think we're at a whole new generation now. We're going to just be doing this stuff till we kick, really, because we're having so much fun. But anyway, as we build our careers a certain way, our identity gets very locked in often to who we've become and what we've known as. And that point happened for me. So about 2011, 2012, I want you all to picture this, like social media had been out, probably about, 5 years full swing. Let's say that we were all into it. I'm running huge conferences for women entrepreneurs in Vegas. I'm renting out Tao. We have acrobats. I have like 1,000 people in my programs. Like my company's Inc. 500. Like it's just rocking. I'm on Secret Millionaire ABC. Like all this stuff's happening around me. And I'm having this crazy why not now feeling that I actually want to shut things down. And this may be an unusual why not now. It was kind of like, why the F now? What the F am I thinking now? But a few things were happening that at the same time, and some were external and some were internal. And the external was that I saw the market saturation that was happening. For those of you listening, and you see all this online stuff and all the coaching and all the personal brands and, Instagram, which is relatively newer and all this was all just coming into play. And suddenly it was getting really, really crazy. And the second thing that was happening is that there was a lot of confusion as all these people were entering the market and on social and all this. And, I was a really acclaimed business coach. I had, accomplishments and awards and proven results that no one else had, but we were still getting calls, and they went like this. I'm thinking of signing up for Allie's programs, to build my business this year, this, solid program she's put together. But tell me the difference between learning from Allie and learning from the girl who dances in music videos and does business coaching.
Mm-hmm. Learned it
on
on
I'll take this
Tuesday.
This is reality. And I'm going, oh my gosh, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to pay attention. But I totally was seeing this loss of positioning, going like, okay, I need to make a big decision here where I'm going to take this. And if we stay where we are right now, I'm going to get lost in this mix. It's time for me to really step up and claim who are the women I work with? What is the path I want to take? What do I want to do? Because the third thing that was happening was I was really creatively starved. And man, there's guilt around that. There's guilt around that when you have a huge team around you and you have you're at an event and there's hundreds and hundreds of people staring at you who want you exactly the way you are and to keep doing everything you're doing the same way. But inside, you feel this guilt because you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'd really like to go do this over here, or change some things, or maybe take time off and go write a book, or maybe finally meet a man and have a good relationship, like all this stuff circling around. And so, there's a lot more to the story, but really that was that moment. And that moment lasted probably about 2 years, I have to say. And it was one of those times that people have no idea what's going on inside and everything's going well. And you're, making it happen and doing great stuff, but you're kind of yearning for that next big thing. So that's the last momentous, why not now?
So,
before I reach the next one, which will be
so good. Oh, we're on to the next. We'll definitely get to the next, but let's dissect this one for a second. Good. It is so relevant. And I think about, I see you on a stage right now, and I see from the outside looking in what it looks like and the perception. And then I just see this person who's creatively starved. And I have heard this from so many, and I've been there. Oh my gosh. But from so many women who maybe they invest a ton of time in a certain degree and it's fancy, or they're an attorney, they're a doctor, they're whatever. And they're just like, shit, man, I don't want to do this anymore. But it sounds cool. It's feeding my ego. I'm making decent money. I spend a ton of time getting here. And then what, right? But I have never heard that term, creatively starved. And it's such a good... that just nails it.
You feel it, don't you? You feel it internally.
Oh, physiologically, yearning, like you said. So you're on these stages. You're doing this. Was there a moment, or was this a brewing boil? Do you remember a thing that was like, all right, crossing the line?
I was thinking like a skin boil. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, no. Like a slow boil.
like a skin problem. Kind of both. Was it? Yeah, it was simmering. It was percolating there. And if any of you listening can see the show, when I was on ABC Secret Millionaire, it aired in 2011. That show was a turning point for me because you will see me transform. I was in need of a situation that would really shake me up. And that was it. And just a quick premise of the show, if you haven't seen it, they take a, quote, super successful, person and take them out of their element and everyday life and put them into some emotionally challenging situations, living on welfare wages, working with homeless or people in some hard situations, and then giving away $100,000 of their own money. And I had to say yes to that show without knowing it would even air. You signed a document that says that. And I just kept thinking, gosh, this is something that probably could point me in the right direction. And the sad thing was I also said yes because I knew I would not be reachable for a week, which is just to have that peace. I hate to say that, but my life was so nuts that to surrender my phone for a week and really be present and be talking to people and and really what they did not show at the end of that show, because they didn't have a camera in my house, is you see me go back to the big beach house in LA, and I rode my little bicycle up and go up the steps and shut the door and fell on the floor crying and was literally like, God, use me now. Use me. I'm ready. Let's I know this can't be it. There's good stuff. And I know I'm helping people, but I don't want on my epitaph to say online influencer. This can't be it. I don't want to teach online marketing. And that was the next beginning.
And that was it. That's a biggie. That is a big line in the sand. So then what happened? I mean, was it a process? Because you had a team. You had a a reputation for doing certain things, kind of a typecast, if you will. What did that look like? What was the first step in
I like
turning
that
this
term, actually.
around?
I'm writing that down, the typecast. That's a great word to apply to it. I
Oh
hadn't thought of that
yeah.
before. And well,
We
the
do it.
first
I
thing
mean, we
is,
all do it to each
yeah,
other, right? Like, oh, you're the Shaquille O'Neal or the Rock girl that helped with. I'm like, yeah, but that was 10 years ago, and I don't do that
right. And they
anymore.
still, right. People still call me, my first brand was called the Easing Queen because I taught email marketing, and people still call me that. It's like Madonna has said, if I had known for the rest of my life, I would have been called Material Girl. I would have never done that stupid song.
Right,
So
right.
it's kind of how we feel.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
the first thing, and by the way, I do this with clients now because typically when they come in my door, and these are women who are in the multiple 7, multiple 8 figures, they have typically built something, and this is a metaphor for our lives. So take this in, whether you're here or not. They've typically built something now that in order for them to elevate, in order for them to evolve, in order for their career and their business to truly follow the person they are becoming, they have to let some things go. And the letting go can mean a few things: blowing it up, selling it. I mean, I'm not just saying shut it down. Like, I ended up having to shut it down. I waited too long. We looked at a possible acquisition. It just couldn't get the terms together. Like, we tried everything. But some of you may think about this. So there's going to be some pieces that they were amazing at first, but now they're kind of baggage. And so the first thing I did was literally on a piece of paper, rounded up some numbers, called my team for that. That's what the team was good for. I'm like, put some numbers together. I need a report. Look at everything. I'm like, what is the 80-20 rule on this? What is Pareto's principle? Many of you are familiar with this. Pareto was an Italian economist, was looking at his garden, and he realized that 20% of the pea pods were creating 80% of the peas. And he thought, this is fascinating. I wonder if I can apply this to the economy. And sure enough, he did. And then to traffic. And then, I can apply it to my closet. I wear probably 20% of my clothes, the same clothes, 80% of the time. It's the things we just grab. So in your business, as it grows, this is a great test to apply and look at, what is the 20% of my efforts that are generating 80% of the income? Okay, that's the money part. Go beyond that now. What is the 20% of my efforts that's generating the 80% of my joy and fulfillment in my business? What's the 20% of our marketing that's generating us the 80% of the best clients? Like, you've got to get ruthless. I've heard you use the word renegade, right? I mean, you got to go a little renegade on this. This is not typical business school crap. Like, this is your life. For us, this business, it's our life. And my business has always followed my personal development. And when I start feeling resentful, when I feel unfulfilled, when I feel boxed in, I know that is the moment that I have not been honoring that. And that's a hard thing, though, when you've built a structure and frameworks and programs and a team. And so we started by just letting, one program go here and like one little thing go there, and shutting this thing down, shutting that thing down. And again, I don't want to seem like this is easy. This was a 2-year process, and it was some hard conversations with some people that I cared about dearly, but saying, you know what? We've had so much fun. We built this amazing thing, but Allie Brown, I need to go do this over here. And if you'd like to come, it could look like this. But if that's not a good fit, I get it. And I wish you well. And you know what? Not everyone wishes you well.
Right.
Not everyone appreciates that conversation. But I'm telling you, my God, the things that opened up in my life when I made that space were extraordinary.
Oh, so was there a pause moment where, I mean, it took 2 years to just kind of untangle, it sounds like. I had a very similar situation where I kind of blew up everything, but it was an interesting, I needed that much personal development that I kind of had to, in a way. But did you have a moment of pause, or before launching into that that next phase, that new direction, and not even necessarily a timeline pause, but did you just know and you went, or was there a ready, set, pause? Okay, let's regroup. Let's hold up here a second.
Well, I would say there was a period of just being with what I had, but getting excited about what was to come. Because there's the realities of this too. I'm all about energy and attraction, all this stuff. And then you got to look like what's paying the bills, my
Totally.
God. Right. Like, I mean, let's all be, like
Yeah.
I'm not, I can't quite levitate off the floor. I'm not there. Maybe some of you are, and money doesn't matter and blah, blah, blah. But you know what? I like a lot of it. And I like my lifestyle, and I had people to pay and all that stuff. So, there is a bridge, and this is the painful part, where you probably will have to hang on to a few things. And you've just got to say, you know what, I'm sucking it up. And the rest of this year, I'm putting on the happy face, and we are doing this program. We are doing these events. We're going to do a great job. But you have to make space for the thing that's coming. Mm-hmm. You have to honor that thing. You have to give it dedicated time. You have to give it a day a week. You have to decide, you know what, that Tuesdays and Fridays are my day for the new thing coming, or whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And it's dedicated to that day. And, strangely enough, this sounds bizarre to people because it sounds like something that was so planned and strategic. My podcast came out of that. And the podcast, Glambition Radio, which people think, oh my gosh, you had this whole strategy around it. It sounds so sad to say it now. That was my creative project. Like that to me, because I had the whole team and they're like, okay, what's the upsell? What's the downs? Blah, blah. I said, I just want to do a podcast. And I want to have amazing conversations with these women that I'm meeting at these high-end events. And I want to bring them to all the women that I know here and connect them and have these. I'm just so excited about this. And so I started, and that was 2014. And I did it kind of, I don't want to say quietly, but there's a lot more we could have done with it. But I just wanted it to be, I wanted to really enjoy it. Mm-hmm. So, for 4 years, I did it like every 2 weeks. And now we're kicking it up again. We're in the top 50, usually hovering around there at entrepreneurship. I can't wait to have you on to tell you, find out more about your story. Yeah, because I think we can go. I was reading a bit about your background and your story too, and I think we're going to have a real juicy conversation around that. And that's what I love. So maybe you have a passion project that you could start, but truly commit to. Okay, truly commit to it. Don't just say I'm going to dabble in this or do some research. Like say, you know what, I'm going to go do this thing, and people may not connect the dots yet or put this together, but this is my exit strategy. This is my creative way out.
Mm-hmm. That's exactly what I was talking about. You have to make space, and it's interesting. That's how the Why Not Now podcast was born, was innocent passion project, and to be completely honest, kind of a way to stay relevant because I didn't want to do what I had been doing before. But so as you work with women and you're working with a level, 7-8 figures. There have been many pivots probably prior for these women, but for women who maybe don't know what that thing is, but they know they want something different, is that what you advise? Is try and make some space and look at what your passion project might be, or how do you guide someone through that process when they're at that level?
Well, it depends first we identify like where, and I don't want to say the 5-year question. I hate that. It sounds so corporate when you're interviewing for a job. Now, I never knew that answer to that question. I'm like, I could be a rock star. I don't know. But, once you get going, you kind of know like where you'd like to be in a few years. And so then we start looking at, okay, what doesn't fit that now? Maybe, for example, they're working with the wrong types of clients. They're like, oh my God, I'm attracting all these broke people and this isn't working, and they're just want everything for free. And so we start looking, okay, who are the type of people you want to attract? How can you start attracting them now? It's changing the conversation, maybe changing your methods of marketing. Like a lot of this is practical, but we have to start engineering it it's like turning the big ship, but you have to go a little at a time. And you have to really commit to that because sometimes it will take a while. And that's where it gets really frustrating. And I always warn the women who come to me, I'm like, by the way, I'm like, this year may even suck for you. And I'm probably the only coach that'll be honest until I'm like, because I said there's a lot of letting go. I said, typically when women work with me too, like energetically, they start vibing up so much, shit starts blowing up. And you just got to be ready and just say, just know this is part of the process. Because if you don't make those decisions, the universe will make them for you. I'm sure I'm singing your song. You know this stuff, right? Like
Absolutely.
the whole vibing and up leveling and all this stuff. Yeah. So, but if you don't make room, the universe will start picking and choosing what's going to make room. And most of the time it works, but it's just a mess. Like if you can plan this, if you could put a bit of a plan to it. So first is make space. And I tell them, you got to make space for these changes. Otherwise it's a waste of an investment this year. Like we've got to make space to do this stuff. And then, for example, another thing is maybe letting a program go or deciding to change their brand and say, you know what, this isn't what I stand for anymore. Sometimes we look at their branding together. They're like, I don't even want to look at it. This is so 4 years ago and I can't. And I can relate. My site's still not done yet. By the way, no one go there. Just go to the show. But, we're in that painful like process, like everything that's there doesn't represent or feel like where I'm going. And so it is a process and it's the part we don't like. But I found for women, and remember, I'm grossly generalizing, but this is the evidence and observation I have with working hundreds of these women over the years, is that business for us is very personal. And often we are here, most of us, not all, but are here to bring an extreme gift with what we do. And so this is a very curated process. It's not just like looking at the bottom line, deciding to make some decisions. That's not typically the women I work with. It's a much more personal change. It's like, okay, where are we going to go now? What's your iconic work? What's your legacy play? How do we make a boatload of money from this? So you can make a huge impact and finally sock away some money because you've been working your butt off. And, it's these bigger conversations that then we back out of that into the transition.
Business is very personal. It's so true. And what you said earlier about your business has always followed personal development. And I think sometimes we try to compartmentalize the two, but they are so in sync in my experience as well. My observation is that those limiting beliefs, as soft as they might sound and as fluffy as this might sound and intangible, they really are such a key to everything. And would you say a big portion of your coaching is on that inside job and then the tactical comes later? Like just even percentage-wise, yeah, you're focused on that inside job.
Totally. And actually nothing makes me crazier if someone walks in my door and wants advice on Facebook ads. I'm like, you're in the wrong place. Like,
right. You can learn that online for $25.
Yeah. Or I'm like, let me get you to an expert on that. Like, what do you really want to create here? Let's have some fun. Let's take this out. But yeah, it's all, and I don't want to say it's all a mind game because I think some people then just sit and try to attract it. I mean, you've got to do some hustle. You've got to do some of that. But really, a lot of it is, and sometimes it could be just flipping a perspective, just flipping a switch on people. In the pre-chat, you mentioned Cindy Eckert, who I just adore, and I just had her here. I brought her in to speak at my event, which was called Iconic here in Phoenix a few weeks ago. God, it seems like a year, but it was only a few weeks ago when we're recording this. And man, I thought I'd gotten to a certain point, and then she came on stage, and you just should have seen their faces. It just having her, something just flipped in their minds around what was possible and the types of money that she talks about, and talking about doing $1 billion deal, and it just reset everyone's, I don't know, what would that be? Barometer, recalibrated. I don't have the right word, but something like that. Literally they walked out rewired. I mean, I had clients coming to me later and saying, oh my God, I just got this idea for a software that I'm going to add to the service I do. Maybe I can build this up and sell it. I'm like, yes. This is how the women need to start thinking because we're stuck in that kind of earning model, We're in that earning model. Some of us build the passive income with the programs. Yeah. And the programs can be very lucrative, but then sometimes I'm talking to these clients and they're like, yeah, but I'm on team calls all day. I'm like, all right, well that you just traded one for the other, So it's just about flipping that switch. And I don't want to say believing in yourself. It sounds so magazine, but it's just a different perspective. It's just like, that's the best way I can describe it. Is just flipping the switch.
We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back. Hi, everyone. If you are digging this podcast, please do us a favor and subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. It just takes a moment and it means a ton to us. Also, after recording more than 100 episodes, I've created a bit of a cheat sheet on the top 5 things I've learned from renegades and how they get from idea to action, from dreaming to doing. I will email you the downloadable PDF when you subscribe to my newsletter. Just head to amyjomartin.com and click on Connect with Me. Yes. It's interesting because, 5+ years ago, if someone would have said, no, this is the way to true business success or growth or whatever, I'd be like, really? The inside job? What are the tactics? Give me something tangible. And it truly is. It's everything. So if we were to take you back to your shift from the small ad agency in New York City to your first just going out on your own, as you look back at that now and knowing that there are people listening who are considering, we'll call it a pivot, a redream, whatever, becoming an entrepreneur, what would you say you've learned? Because, you were down to less than $20 in your bank account, right?
Everyone loves that story, and I want to forget it, but they all love it. Right?
Now I'm typecasting you as totally. The $18.56 lady, right? Or whatever it was.
Yep. Rags to riches. Here we go.
Here we go. You don't have to spend too much time on it. And tell us.
Should I go back there?
Tell us whatever excites you about the story at this point, because it sounds like you've probably told it enough, and that's the last thing we want to do is have you tell it again.
You know what's crazy is looking back to that time now, it actually seems like a lot of fun. Because when you're like 27, you have nothing to lose. No pets, no kids, no mortgage. Really, I'm in this job that paid like $35,000 a year in New York, which is, not going to get you far in New York City. But I made it happen. I was living in this crappy apartment. I didn't care because I was in New York City. My God, I was just so excited. And I was at this little ad agency where after working at some larger companies and moving jobs every year, I just kept thinking, maybe I'm in the wrong place. I just kept thinking I need to find the right place, that I just needed to find the right company and I was going to be happy. I never even thought of working for myself. It was never in my mind. And I ended up working at this ad agency. It was like 8 people. Like I was the total misfit. Talk about renegade. There was like 8 people there. The owners were these like bushy old Orthodox Jewish guys, like Midtown. I'm there with my blonde pixie cut, and I think I had a belly ring there. This was circa Britney, so cut me some slack. But they brought me in. I got the job because my previous job, I'd had some healthcare writing experience, and they were like, "Oh, great." I took the job, and I loved the little ad agency atmosphere because I got to do everything. Mm-hmm. And instead of having to sit in a cube, I was literally running around, and like if they were out of the office and clients called, I would get on the computer and figure out how to finish designing the ad. I could take the train and go meet with the clients and show them the latest issue of the newsletter that we put together. Like I loved that like entrepreneurial feeling. And I started thinking, my God, I think I'm kind of doing all this. Maybe I could do this on my own. And talk about a switch flipping, though. My awareness shifted when there was this older guy named Eric, and he'd wander in and out, and he was a designer. He'd kind of come as needed and leave. And I'm like, what do you do? How do you get to come and go like this? And he said, well, I'm freelance. And I said, can you tell me more about this? Let's go to Dunkin' Donuts. I'll buy a coffee. And the guy's like, 56, and I'm taking him for a coffee. Dunkin' Donuts like 27, but like, I want to be successful. Show me the way. And he said, you could probably do this too. He said a lot of ad agencies hire freelancers, when they're smaller and they don't want to have full-time staff. And a lot of them hire copywriters, and, you do a lot of writing. And so I don't advise this, but this is how I roll. Literally, I had a plan to quit within 8 weeks. I was so on fire. I was so excited at the possibility of just working from my little apartment and having my own little business that I just knew I'd figure it out. I just knew I'd figure it out. And some of you listening may shock you, but some of you listening go like, I know what that feels like. Like I'm going to be okay. It may suck. It may be a mess in the middle of a surgery. It looks like a murder. That's kind of what it was like, but I'm going to be okay on the other side. And that's when that ATM story happened. Like there was one night that I literally went to get cash out and I was like, "Oh my God, my balance was 1856." Like I'll never forget that number. And I just had to, kind of cancel my plans and just, pick up, I don't know, something at the little Korean market and eat that for dinner. And I just knew I'd be okay. And that was the why not now moment.
Oh, yeah. And the bravery. I mean, to be willing to go and do that without the infrastructure of a job, of someone paying you, on schedule. It does. It takes a lot of bravery. And it's funny looking back at the first time I did that too. It becomes a muscle where you do that and then everything else. For me, it's like, well, I have a pretty high tolerance for risk now, but I swear it was that first step over that bridge that gives you that.
It's part bravery, but it's also part, I mean, I miss that naivete sometimes. Some of you know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. I miss that naivete and I miss that, I'm about to start a brand new company in 2020 and I'm going through this whole process again behind the scenes, but hiring the way I want to hire and deciding whether to get funding and all this stuff. And I know so much more, but sometimes too, you have to work even harder. At least I do now at this point. I have to work even harder at waking up and flipping positive like the whole day. It can be really difficult because I could think back to going like, well, remember when that happened, or what if this doesn't work? And what about that? And like, no, mm-hmm. flip it. So it's a muscle. You have to keep working on that.
Absolutely. There's so many people that I've interviewed that really speak to that. They have gone off to build incredible things and innovate. And they say, well, I didn't know anything different. I didn't know how the industry had always done it. So that's how I was able to create, with those fresh eyes. There is an advantage for sure. So what excites you the most right now? So you have this new company coming in 2020. Are you able to talk about it or tease it at all, or is this top secret?
Not yet, but I will say it's I debuted it at Iconic just privately for that audience, but I will say it's a space for the higher end women entrepreneurs that has not been disrupted in about 20 years. And it's like an idea that's just been waiting, and I keep waiting for someone to do something and no one is. And so I said, I think this is my thing. I think this is my next thing. And I love disruption. I know that word is overused now. It's used everywhere, but I love it. I love doing something different. I love doing it better. I love doing it in a unique way that no one's thought of, and in a way that'll bring people much more value than what they're getting elsewhere. That's what sparks me up about it.
I just have a picture of like a snow globe, and sometimes you just want to shake it up. Sometimes it gets shook for you, but what's one thing you find yourself learning over and over, Allie?
To trust myself, hands down. The only times I went dramatically wrong, and actually this is good for me to hear today, so thank you. To remind myself this today. The only times that I've gone dramatically wrong in my business are when I met people and said, oh my God, they must know so much more than I do. Like I'm going to do whatever they say. Mm-hmm. And that's when my business just started to go off the rails, or it wasn't honoring who I was, and I tell you, even to this day, it happens. And I need to know that like, I know what I want. Some other people may know more of the how or the details and all that, but like, I know what I want to create and I know the best way to do it for me. Because sometimes they'll know a good way, but it's not the best way for you. So really that is a muscle and I will say now, look, I'm 48 now, so freaking clear what I'm interested in and not interested in. It's amazing. And I know you look super young. I don't think you're in your 40s yet.
I'm 40, just turned 40.
You're going to love it so much. Like I can't tell you how liberating this decade has been for me personally. Like it's just a whole new era of confidence and courage that's kind of, as you peel away the layers of the onion, it's just there and it's solid and it's, you've got to keep it up. But man, like I see some of these younger gals starting companies and I'm in awe, like what they've done at their age, because it took me a long time to really grow into who I was supposed to be.
It's interesting too, because you met your husband, were you 41? I think I was reading, and you became a mom. As someone who has been pretty career driven, and I'm sure you've had this question more than once. What are some of the things that have allowed you to really give both the energy that you want? And, it's such a cliche question, but I think now that more women are having children later, and the whole balance of that word just kind of I cringe when I hear it, but it's a thing. I'm on planes a lot. I'm a new mom of a few months now. And I get that question a lot. So very similar age to you when you had your babies.
Yeah. Yeah. And didn't in the hospital, don't they treat you like you're geriatric? Like,
oh yeah. I'm like high risk, man. I mean, that's a whole nother story.
Like I'm not, yeah. Like yeah. So like, yeah. So, and by the way, ladies, if you're waiting for the right partner, when Brett came into my life is when I started letting all this go. That whole period, it was right after I started dismantling the things that weren't bringing me joy. I started making some space, and I wasn't focused on dating. I'm like, I'm just going to get back in the game a bit and, go out more and have some fun. And then boom. And then, to be frank, got pregnant without thinking I really could that easily, and with twins. So who does that happen to? Apparently me. So there we were. And I have to tell you, I still apologize to this day to all the moms I gave business advice to before, because I'm like, just work harder, get a sitter, come on, let's go. like, man, it just threw me for a loop in this amazing, incredible way. Like emotionally, it just cracks your heart open. And I'm going to cry even now if I talk about my kids. And my twins are 6; they're in first grade now. They're at school today. But man, like that. It was interesting because too, I was also thrown into a relationship very quickly. And it's a good thing that as soon as I met him, I'm like, this is the man I'm supposed to be with. Like, this is all coming together. And here I am though. That was when the business was at its peak, man. There was slowing down was not an option. I had to make it an option. I tell you though, motherhood is really good. Like I was just saying about your 40s, motherhood does this as well. You get very clear instantly what you're interested in, not interested in, friends you care about versus the ones you really can't make time for. You still love and bless them, but you can't go out of your way to spend time with them. You just get very, very selective and only spend time on the things that really are either critical. You're keeping these little beings alive and loved, but also for you, like you realize, because when you have money too, and you're able to hire all this help, we went through different phases. Like the first thing I did was I'm like, we have no idea what we're doing. Let's hire all this help. And then after a bit of that, I'm like, everyone get out of my house. Like I just want to be alone with these kids. So I think we need to here's the important thing to remember. There's no one right way to do this. Like everyone has their own way. And so I think all these moms, like I hate when even the magazines and media try to do this like best way of this or that, or what we're doing with our kids. Like there's no one best way to do it. So you have to figure it out. But I know for me, it was a wonderful permission for me to like then look at, okay, how can I personally, when I was looking at, okay, if I'm only going to have a few hours a day, truly a productive time now, only a few hours a day, then what's my biggest bang for the buck? What do I love to do? What can I make the most money doing? That's when I went back to doing just good old phone coaching, one-on-one. Like I went back to just coaching my high-end clients individually and running my premier group and maybe having a workshop once a year. But it was so wonderful to really do that exercise and go, what's the least amount of I can work right now for the highest net that I still enjoy and can have the most time with my family. Then, you're in the thick of it right now, man, when they're a baby. And then though, as a few years into it, you'll feel like this itch, if you don't already. I know for me, it took a few years. I was pretty happy with how things were. And then I started getting this itch again. I'm like, ooh, I'm getting fired up again. Something's percolating. What's coming? The kids are good. I can know they're healthy. They're smart. I know that they're alive. They're learning to read. They're happy. They're healthy. Like, you feel this kind of freeing energy now to say, okay, what's next? But I know some moms who work all the way through it, and some who decide to stop working, and that's my journey. And then we decided for a year or two, Brett left his job to be home with the kids, which for us was the most amazing decision we made. It wasn't easy, but it was better. It was so better. We could travel as a family. We could go to Australia for a few months at a time. And then after 2 years, he's like, I'm going crazy, and I need to stop. So it's all an evolution. Just keep checking in with each other as partners. That's my biggest advice. Just keep checking in, like, how's it going for you? Because either I'm doing well. Are you doing well? What do you think? Should we look at other options? We're so lucky in this country to have the choices we have as moms, and that's the most important thing to remember.
Oh, absolutely. It's true. Like, you can always shift. It's not like it's forever. You do this for a while, and it's like, well, you know what? That's not working. Let's check in. I'm enjoying some of the clarity that you speak of. It's a new level of clarity, and I mean, talk about renegade and just a little ruthlessness of people, places, things. What's important? Clear out the non-essentials, right? There's just zero time for that, but it feels good. It feels really good to have that. And yeah, it's, as I think about your path and this word blowing up, right? Do you believe that there's a friendly version of that? It doesn't have to be so painful, because I've learned that maybe I didn't have to do it the way that I did it. And for people listening that might want to shake up their snow globe.
Dismantling, we can come up with a friendlier term to put you at ease.
Yeah.
The slow dissolution.
Yeah.
How about an effortless dissolution?
There you go. You go. I love it.
But if you wait too long, if it's something you're supposed to do and you wait too long, it's going to blow up. And all of you listening know that when you've there's something you need to do, and it's in your highest good, but it's going to be a hard conversation or something you're scared about the money or whatever. The universe will do it for you. God's giving you some taps. and if you're not listening, then you get the 2x4. So It's your choice, really.
Yep, that's the way it works. You can see those signs or not. Oh, wow. So where's the best place to follow you? And just
Well, you can go to
steps.
AllieBrown.com, and there's AllieBrown.com has links to everything. The new site's coming soon. If you see the old site, it's still good, but I'm excited about the new site. That's links to everything that we're working on. Glambition Radio is the show. If you could just go to glambitionradio.com, sign up. And I can't wait to have you on. I really love talking with you. I think we're going to have a great continued conversation on my show. And, social, I love it. I hate it, but I'll say my happy place pretty much is Instagram. If you want to find me there, Allie Brown Official.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. And I can't wait as well to join you on your show. And we'll be following and tracking your steps, especially in 2020. Excited to see what you're building. And thank you so much for being real too, and sharing your journey and the ups and downs and your wisdom. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the show. Hit me up on social media to let me know what you think. I'm at Amy Jo Martin on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And I want to hear your Why Not Now moments so I can share them on the show. Just send me a note to whynotnow@amyjomartin.com. For show notes and other offers, you can visit amyjomartin.com/whynotnow. And while you're there, don't forget to sign up for my email newsletter for exclusive content and announcements. A big thanks to Rock Salt Music for all of the tunes by the talented John Coggins. And of course, a hat tip to Richard Brewer for editing and producing the show. I'll see you next time, and until then, why not now?